mind-body connection, mind over matter, the secret, mental, physical, and spiritual balance. These phrases open the door to a concept that your environment and your perception of your environment is everything to the health of your life and body. Today's topic centers around illness coming from stress and fear, that our perception is influential to not only our physical health, but our whole outcome of life. Many of us have tried diets, workouts, had stress, anxiety, faced illness, possibly even cancer. If we haven't, we know someone that has. Do you remember what that person's perception, or even your own, was of the situation that you were facing? Possibly you've heard someone say something like this: I've tried so many diets and workouts, it doesn't seem to work for me. I always fall off weeks in. They've determined nothing will work for them, so therefore, nothing ever does. Some might conclude this is because there hasn't been a radical enough change to their environment to make them accept new ways of living. Often this radical change is cancer, trauma, or severe injury. Changing our perception and environment have healing effects great enough to cure cancers, bring people back from comas, and even heal broken bones or nerve endings. Don't believe me? I have a few stories for you. First comes from Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's a Western medical doctor, and years ago he was an avid cyclist, and he was riding his bike and turned out onto a street and was hit from behind from a Ford Bronco, launching him off of his bicycle, and when he hit the ground, he compressed 6 vertebrae. He was told at this time that he would never walk again, and he needed a Harrington rod surgery, which is where they place 2 rods along your back, fusing your spine, creating immobility. He would not accept this, so he checked himself out of the hospital and refused the surgery. He had this one thought in his mind: the power that made the body can heal the body, so consciousness that created us can also heal us. From that moment forward, he intricately studied his spine and how it worked, and he never let a negative thought about his healing enter his mind, and if it did, he immediately removed that negative perception of his healing. Another woman named Elizabeth, in her early 40s, seemingly healthy, did all the right things, was studying acupuncture, eating healthy, exercising, was a poster for what health is. She was under a lot of stress though. In 1 year, she made a big move, left a bad marriage, lost her mother to cancer, all in the same year. She started getting headaches and was experiencing extreme pain in her body. She went to the doctor 3 times that year, went through many tests, and was still told there was nothing wrong with her. Finally, they discovered one morning when she woke up and she was feeling very terrible and went to the hospital, they discovered she had stage 4 colon cancer, and that she only had a small amount of time to live. Through intense spiritual coaching, massive lifestyle changes, coupled with some chemotherapy, she is now 3 years cancer-free. Anita Morjani, on February 2nd, 2006, was rushed to the hospital because she was a lymphoma patient of 4 years. She had lemon-sized tumors all throughout her body. And on February 2nd, she was rushed to the hospital because she was dying, and she slipped into a coma. And as she slipped into this coma, she felt herself go into this transcendent realm where she saw her father that had passed on years before. Her and her father had had an estranged relationship. It was not good at the time of his passing. In this realm, she learned a truth about that relationship and about her cancer, that the cancer was all a cause of the turbulent relationship she had once had with her father. Upon realizing this, she began to come out of her coma, and within a week she was released from the hospital because all of her tumors had shrank and were now out of her body, and she's been cancer-free ever since. How can this be possible, and how can this coexist with our current Western medicine and idea of health and wellness? Some experts in the field of medicine and science say this. Deepak Chopra quotes, "Conventional medicine is needed 10% of the time for acute conditions, short-term conditions. For chronic illness, no matter the cause, cancer even, you should seek a holistic approach," he says. Jeffrey Thompson, a neuroacoustic wizard, as his title reads, talks about stress and the 3 types of stress that we experience, which are chemical stress, our fight or flight response, trauma stress, broken bones, emotional stress such as heartbreak, loss, or broken trust, impact our health. Take fight or flight, for example. Each day, we are under stress between work, relationships, and commitments, and adrenaline is being released from our body. Now, when we were first designed and created and came into this world, that response was to help us stay alive, not be eaten by animals bigger and higher on the food chain than ourselves. And that adrenaline release was only through short periods of time, so therefore it did not create blockages in the body. When adrenaline is released, it shuts off all the systems not needed for survival at that moment: digestion, hearing, memory, eyesight. But if we are experiencing a release of adrenaline all day long, we are slowly, consistently shutting down these systems, which can lead to gut problems, heart problems, memory, and even eyesight. Joanne Broykinso, a psychoneuroimmunologist, say that 10 times fast, backs Jeffrey up by saying that 90% of people go to the doctor for stress-related illnesses. So accepting that stress, lifestyle, and environment can cause chronic illness, like heart disease, cancers, and diabetes, over the family history disposition approach of conventional medicine, how are we able to make this miraculous healing happen? Well, Kelly Turner has a few answers for us. She is a researcher and author. She traveled the world and studied 250 case studies on people who had had similar healing cases like Dr. Joe and Elizabeth and Anita. She discovered 75 factors that all people used in their rehabilitation and healing. They did not all use the same 75, but she did discover that they used the same 9, that everybody always used the same 9. And only 2 of those 9 were a physical factor. The other 7 were mental, emotional, or belief changes, such as taking control of your health, releasing stress, embracing social support, deepening a spiritual connection, having a strong reason for living, and following your intuition about yourself. Today you've heard 3 stories. You've heard reasons and how people are able to make these miraculous mental shifts about their healing. And we've even heard doctors support that these claims are possible. But now it's all up to you. So I hope today, going forward, maybe just a small piece of you will remember this and take it with you as maybe yourself experiences that radical necessary change in your life, or maybe you know someone that maybe needs to hear these stories and help them make that radical change in their life.